What up, reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got an author interview. I somehow conned Ransom Riggs into answering some of my questions with the help of Penguin Teen, who is sponsoring this video, so thanks to Penguin Teen for sponsoring this video. Today I'm going to be asking Ransom Riggs some questions. If you don't know who Ransom Riggs is, first of all, hello, you must be new to my channel.
Hi there, my name is Ransom Riggs. I am the author of the Peculiar Children series, and the final book in the series, called The Desolations of Devil's Acre, comes out on Tuesday, February 23rd.
Ransom is so kindly going to be answering some of my questions, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right on into it. Q&A, 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 yeah! Kick us off with a Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children elevator pitch.
An elevator pitch for the Peculiar Children series. It's like 7 books long at this point, so it's a little tough to condense, but basically it's about a boy named Jacob Portman who grows up in a boring suburban town in Florida and who thinks that he himself is boring and unextraordinary and is leading an unextraordinary life, but he longs for more, he longs for adventure, he longs for the extraordinary, and upon the tragic death of his grandfather, he learns that, slowly throughout the course of that first novel, he learns that in fact he is anything but ordinary. He and his late grandfather were peculiar, part of a derivation of people who have peculiar talents and abilities and who are hunted by these horrifying invisible monsters and have a whole history all their own. And throughout the course of the series, he becomes completely enmeshed in the society and with these people and finds in them a new family and has to defend them through powers that he discovers he has against all these monsters and nightmares that are coming after them.
Describe the last book in the series, The Desolations of Devil's Acre, using as many peculiar words as you can.
It's the culminating 3-decker in my prolonged Bildungsroman concerning one Jacob Portman and his misadventures with a coterie of remarkable kittywinks. They're obliged to defend their temporal homestead/garbage pit against the onslaught of malevolent forces while making forays into far-flung loops in search of several prophesied peculiars.
I'll be over here Googling those words for the next hour trying to figure out what they mean. If you had to come up with a book title to encompass the writing process for this book, what would you title it? And also, let us know what it was like writing this finale.
If I had to title the writing of this book, it would be called Putting Fictional People You Love Through Hell: The Unpleasant Obligations of an Author. Because truly, drama is torturing your protagonists, driving them up a tree and then throwing things at them, and then they run into a house and then you set the house on fire and then you throw stones at the burning house. You know, eventually they probably survive, but they've been through a lot of dramatic hell in the process. That is what all these books have been like. And it's a little tough because over the course of 10 years of writing these characters, they've become a little bit like a fictional family to me. And some of my favorite scenes to write are the ones where they're just hanging out and talking to each other and having fun, but I don't think they're very fun to read.
I'd read that.
At least not for extended periods of time because nothing's happening and it's undramatic, so...
Okay, I see your point.
You've got to throw a flaming monkey wrench into the proceedings and watch everyone scream and dance every once in a while. So yeah, that's kind of what the writing process has been like. For this novel, I thought I would agonize more over the plot and the ending, but it actually came out very fluidly and very quickly, and I think I've been planning it in my head for a decade, and so when it finally came time to write it, I felt very certain of myself. So this writing process for Desolations was blessedly painless.
What's your favorite photo from The Desolations of Devil's Acre?
So, probably my favorite photo in The Desolations of Devil's Acre is the one on the cover. The person I call the elbow pinch girl. I think the story behind this picture is that the photographer was adjusting his subject right before he took the picture and somehow ended up in the photo, but I don't know for sure, and it's just creepy. It has a lot of atmosphere, and I love how her eyes are just penetrating. It just felt like an encapsulation of the danger that the peculiar children are in throughout much of the series, but especially in this book. I love it for that reason. There's a little bit of an interesting story behind this picture. It was in the collection of a good friend of mine, Jack Mord, who is a great collector of photos and has a really eerie eye and always finds great stuff, much of which ends up in the books. And I saw this on his Instagram a couple of years ago, and I was like, that's amazing, I have to have that for the books. But he could not find the original photo and only had a really tiny, blurry scan of it, so I couldn't use it. And then last year, this new service came out. There's something called like MyHeritage. It's genealogy, DNA website, but there's a little engine built into it where you can upload your old grainy photos and it uses some AI enhancement to sharpen them. And I ran man. In desperation, I ran this picture through the website's AI enhancer, and it came out crisp and clear. I sent it to the designers at Penguin, and they were like, yeah, we can use that. And I was like, robots saved my book cover!
The series is full of unique photos, and they all have an air of mystery behind them. If you could choose one photo from the entire series that you could hop into and kind of uncover the history behind, which photo would it be?
I hate to keep going to the book covers, but my favorite pictures often end up on the covers of the books. So I think it would be this. I've been wondering who this little girl was and why she was dressed like this for a long time. I think she's in front of a backdrop. This looks to me like a photographer's backdrop, and she is somewhat professionally lit. She's not actually floating. That's a little bit of Photoshop.
Say what? My whole life is a lie.
But I think it's a pretty creepy photograph even without the floating. But I just wonder, what photographer would choose this as a backdrop? Why would they paint these fake creepy trees on here? This is like taken at the dawn of photography. No one was making creepy photos on purpose, right? What the hell's going on here? I still want to know.
As it's been 10 years since the release of the first book, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, what have been some of the most memorable experiences you've had because of this series?
Well, hands down, the most memorable experience in this whole 10 years has been the movie being made. Whatever you think of the movie, I think we can all agree it was pretty insane that Tim Burton decided to make a movie of my little book. And as a longtime film nerd and Tim Burton fan, it was really an incredible experience to get to, stand on the set of that movie next to him while he directed scenes that I had written, in my bedroom years before. Truly surreal, really special. Even if more movies get made of my books in the future, I don't think it will ever feel like that. That was really something. Many other experiences that have changed my life and been very affecting have happened over the years. Fan interactions, getting to know this lovely community of young adult authors and booksellers, and just the whole community has been so wonderful and supportive. It's been 10 years of amazing experiences, and I'm just extremely grateful.
In A Map of Days, there's quite a bit of a shift in terms of scenery. What was it like bringing the Peculiars to America?
My favorite parts of bringing the Peculiar Children to America have been confronting the Peculiar Children with things that seem everyday and normal to us, but are totally weird to them, like a trip to Walmart, or what's on TV in the middle of the night in America. A road trip, the classic American road trip. This quintessentially American experience, having the kids go on a road trip and see all the roadside weirdness and rest stops and fast food and tourist traps and things that you see along the way. That was really fun. I just really enjoyed that sort of reverse fish out of water story that allowed me to see our country and our present day world through totally different eyes.
Which Peculiar would most likely have a YouTube channel, and what would their channel's focus be?
I think many of the kids would have YouTube channels. I think Horace would have a cooking/fashion channel. Q would have a, apiculture channel. Enoch would just bitch and moan about things and complain about stuff. I think he's too protective of his power to do any dead rising on camera, but he has a lot of complaints and maybe people he would like to have flame wars with and stuff. That'd be kind of fun to watch. Oh, Horace would probably also have a telling, prestidigitation sideline. So maybe he's got 3 channels. I think Horace is the most likely to be on there.
If there were ever a theme park inspired by the Peculiar series, what ride would you want to see?
Peculiar Children theme park. That's a cool idea. I could see having a ride where you have to climb up the giant stone face of Cuthbert and slide down his gullet into a pool of water, and then on the other side you're in the past. That'd be pretty cool. And then, the past, that's part of the ride. I guess then you're in a little flume boat and you go through, some trials and travails, and hologas come at you and stuff like that. But it would have to involve, switches from present to past and vice versa.
What's the biggest thing you've learned in terms of writing throughout the process of writing this series?
I think the biggest thing I've learned about writing is that it will humble you. No matter how much experience you have, every time you set out to write a book, it feels a little bit like the first time. And every time you think you've got it figured out, there's some new thing you don't know. There's some cliff you don't think you can climb. It's very intimidating, writing. Even if you've done it multiple times, written a number of novels, it still feels like a great challenge. And it's still an amazing thrill to finish a book and to get that book in the mail and see it for the first time on the shelf of a bookstore. I hope that never gets old. It certainly hasn't yet, and it's been 10 years.
What's next for you in terms of writing?
What's next for me is a little surprise for fans that I can't talk about, but I hope to fairly soon.
Excuse me, what? Thank you so much for joining me, Ransom, and answering all my questions. Where can readers find you on the internet and stay in the know about your upcoming books?
Thanks for having me on your channel, Jesse. It's always great to talk with you. Over the years, we've talked many times, and I've seen you at many events, and it's been great having you along as a longtime fan, part of this ride. You know, you've become really important to the series, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm. So thanks, man. And I am also on the internet, a bit less than Jesse, but I have an Instagram where I post sometimes. It's just Ransom Riggs. I have a Twitter, which I don't tweet very much. I have a website, it's just ransomriggs.com. And this book, The Desolations of Devil's Acre, comes out on February the 23rd in bookstores. If you still go to bookstores, or on, you know, Amazon, IndieBound, all sorts of wonderful indie bookstores. If you go to my website or the Penguin Young Readers website, you can find a full list of where you can get it online, BNN, everywhere.
I'm one happy Peculiar fanboy. Oh yes I am. Again, the last book in the Peculiar series is out now, The Desolations of Devil's Acre, so if you haven't picked it up yet, go and pick it up and read it. It's amazing, it's great. I've read it already and I loved it. I have a blog up where I read this book, so if you want to check that out, link in the description. That's all I have for you guys today, but I want to hear from you down below in the comments, so I'm going to ask a question. What is the most peculiar book you've read recently? Let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, yo! In a map of days... Oh no, I have to do this all over. No, I had them out of order. No, okay.